Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents Conversations LA. And I think you might recognize the person who's sitting next to me. Miss Renee Lawless is back with us here.
Renee Lawless is here! Oh my goodness!
I'm so in love with you. You know that, right? I am so in love with this woman.
I don't have no ring on it. I'm just saying.
She has been such a fan of this show.
She's loving me.
And of me.
I'm a very big fan.
Well, thank you. I'm a fan of yours. You know her from the hit show on the Oprah Winfrey Network, The Haves and the Have-Nots. Also,
a small little show.
Yeah, not that small. And also some other great work that she's doing. Mm-hmm. We're going to catch you guys on all of that on her own show. Maybe I can get a little bit of information about that. But Renee, welcome back to the program.
Thank you. It is always a pleasure to be here. You know, you did my first major interview. Wow. How many years ago?
Oh, my goodness.
I wish yesterday. Golly, it's been about 6 years ago
6 years
now.
ago.
And
yeah. My grandmother's been dead 6 years.
That's exactly, it was about 6 years ago. And you always ask, I think, the best questions. I always get the unusual questions. I mean, I'm used to I just was somewhere earlier, and someone asked me a question, what's it like working with Tyler Perry? And I just went, wait a minute, let me hit the rewind and play button because it's the number one question. And I don't think you've hardly ever asked me that question.
Never asked that question.
Never asked that question. And I said, I've answered that question every which way comes Sunday. There's not many ways I can answer it again.
Right. Well,
Google me. You'll get the answer.
You will get the answer. Well, and that's why I try not to do that, because I realize there's some questions that you all get a lot. Yeah. But I want to ask you this question, though. Have you been able to take all of this in? Because you were on, a hit show on the Oprah Winfrey Network. Mm-hmm. You were able to build your own brand as yourself, as Renee Lawless, and have a lot of great things coming up this year. Have you been able to take in all of the accomplishments?
More than 6 years ago, yes. I still am surprised, and I'm going to give you an illustration. Just when I think, okay, it will always be, I can't believe this is my life. Because things happen to me on a weekly basis. I won't say daily, but things will happen to me, well, sometimes daily, on a weekly basis that I go, wow, thank you, Lord, for this amazing blessing. Thank you. So those things still come at me. But the success of the show and being a little bit of a celebrity, I'm able to digest a lot more than I was able to digest 6 years ago. Yeah. With that being said, I'll give you a teeny little story. At Mr. Perry's gala back in October. There was somebody specifically that I had understood had been there the night of the gala, and there were so many people there. I didn't know that half the people were there until I saw it come out in a magazine later. I'm like, I was there, and they were there, and I didn't see them. So I found out that Anita Baker was at the party, and I looked for her. She was across the room, and then someone stopped me, and I never got there, and I thought, oh, wow, I really wanted to meet her, And the next morning, we had a gospel brunch, and it just so happened I was standing on one side of a hedge of a sidewalk, and I look up, and I see her walking down the sidewalk, and I literally, when I tell you jumped the hedge, I jumped the hedge, because I was going to meet her at all costs. Mm-hmm. And I'm walking up to her, and I'm getting ready to say, hello, Miss Baker. I'm like, hello, Miss Baker. I'm Renee. And I'm getting ready to introduce myself. And she goes, oh, Renee, how are you? I want to know all about Africa. She knew my life. She knew I'd gone to Africa. She knew I'd gone to Israel. She knew all this. And I went, you follow me? Yes! She's a big fan of mine on Instagram. And it's all of a sudden that still to this day shocks me. Yeah. When I run into people that I admire, that I revere, whether it's standing at a stage door of a Broadway show or at a party, and I run into somebody and I'm ready to try to go up and introduce myself and they already know who I am, I still am not prepared for that. Yeah. That is the biggest thing that I pray I never will be.
Oh, good. I like that. I feel the same way.
I pray I never will be. Do I hope that my career continues to run? Yes. But I pray I never get, yeah, I'm Renee. Yeah. That kind of. thing. I hope it's always, you know me, that type thing.
Right. Well, you and I, the last conversation we had, Renee, for the public, was
we talk about a lot of stuff. Y'all don't want to know.
Right. No, we can't tell you guys. That's between friends. But last year we talked on ABC News Radio when I joined the family here in Los Angeles. So shout out to them, KMET 1490 AM. And we talked about a moment. I'm a big proponent of this. I know you are too, of giving people their flowers while they're alive. You got more than a flower. You got a star at Tyler Perry's studio.
Okay, I'm going to start crying. You tell me you were going to ask me this.
So I have to talk about this because I was so happy for you. I saw that video. And I know.
My hair looked nasty. Because, honey, I was crying. I had my hair. I said, these pictures look, hey, this is happening.
But seriously, Renee, I remember our very first interview. And then people say, how do you remember these things? I remember the very first interview when you talked about what the dream was for you. And that was to be on television. Mm-hmm. And here you are now, the star of this show, and with this amazing cast. Mm-hmm. Tell our viewers and our listeners about that experience of the reveal of those stars and seeing your name.
You know, people always say it's hard to surprise this person. It's hard to do this for this person. And I find myself to be very attuned to certain things around me. And I guess living in New York, you just have to be aware of your surroundings. And when I tell you a complete blindsided by every single solitary person involved, if you've seen the interviews, if you've seen the videos, if you've seen the pictures, if you follow anything on social media, you know that prior to the dinner banquet hall reveal, he was dedicating for 12 sound stages. Mm-hmm. And the last soundstage to be dedicated was going to be Oprah Winfrey's, which was also the soundstage where the dinner and the music and everything took place. It started at another soundstage with a reception, and then we all walked this massive length, the biggest red carpet of life. And we were told, we had a studio representative kind of watching out for us all night. And we were told midway through this dedication project, we need you all to make your way to the Oprah Winfrey soundstage because we were going to help with the presentation of her soundstage. Why would we not think that was out of the realm of possibility?
Right.
So naturally, we all did that. I think I walked down there too soon. I missed some dedications that I would have liked to have seen. But I was, you know, that whole night was such kind of a la-la. Yeah. I mean, not la-la land, but it was, you talk about taking it in. I couldn't take nothing in that night. I mean, it was one of those, the whole night was a pinch yourself. Yeah. Are you really here? Type moment. And, so what happened, we were told there was a half circle on either side, like a half moon, on either side of the little stage area where Oprah was to stand, of 2 strips of red carpet. And there were numbers, and we were all told to go stand on the numbers. So we all started standing on the carpet. Why wouldn't we stand on the carpet?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So they said, no, stand on the carpet. You got to stand behind your number. Okay, a number. That's all I am. I'm just a number. And literally, they was like 19, 12, 20, whatever. And we're all standing there, and everybody, and you saw some of the video. Some people are actually looking at the stage because you guys saw the video kind of like after the fact. Mm-hmm. Praise Jesus that my best friend was there with a camera on, kind of taking, because a lot of this would have been lost. I kind of wish that we'd kind of been given, you know, somebody had been given a heads up. Make sure your camera is on your friends, your husbands, take pictures of your wives, whatever. And so the announcer did all the dedication to Oprah, like all the other dedications had been done. She did the champagne bottle of the studio, and she said, and now everyone standing before you all essentially got their start at Tyler Perry Studios. Now, we know Tika didn't, and Crystal didn't, and John Schneider, and a couple of other people. But for the most part, as far as a lot of biggest claim to fame, most of the people standing up there had gotten their start at Tyler Perry Studios. So no one thought anything of it. We just kind of stood there, and we just like nodded our heads. And we said, and I think prior to that, they had mentioned something about Tyler starting. The announcer's saying this. There is no MC. This is just like this overhead announcer.
Right.
Now, the rest of what I'm getting ready to tell you is a little fuzzy because the excitement of the moment, everything kind of went out of my head, okay? Right. But somewhere in that conversation, after he says all these people, and Tyler wants to commemorate and forever cement them into the history of the studio. And as that is being said, hence why what the verbiage is a little fuzzy. Mm-hmm. They start ripping up the red carpets in front of us, and everyone is standing in front of their own star. Mm. And that's when all craziness broke out. Right. Hysteria, tears, messy hair, total hysteria. The guys, like, you see some of the video, like Tyler Lepley was standing there just kind of like, right. Like, dude, how are you being so composed? Whereas, right. You know, Crystal's kind of walking around, oh, Lord. And Tika's kind of standing there, and I'm going, oh, so all various forms of shock right. and euphoria are happening at that moment. Okay, once it was all digested, I think all of us stood. Everybody else had gone, at this point, after it was all over, everybody else moved into the soundstage to eat. I think everyone else, all of us, stayed out there for easily 45 minutes. Wow. Not just pictures, but just to absorb what just happened. We were taking pictures. It still hasn't sunk in. I remember 2 days later, I was still in town, and I think Crystal Fox called me. We met for just some appetizers and a drink, and we were talking about neither one of us could process what just happened. Yeah. And for me, I don't have children. My parents are no longer with me. But I have 3 godchildren. And other than my salvation in the Lord Jesus Christ and my eternity in glory, I have no permanence. I don't have anything really fixed and permanent. And I thought, for the rest of humanity on this earth, that my cousins and my godchildren and their children will be able to come to the gates of Tyler Perry Studios and look, because those stars are going to be laid out in front of the main gates of the studio. Mm. So if you just want to go up as a tourist and just see it, our stars will be there. They're not tomorrow. So there was something like this was something. So whether I ever win an award, it doesn't matter. My name is cemented somewhere. And that, there are no words.